Alessia. This is Ingie calling from CFMU, and I'm here with
Michelle from CFMU.
And Rachel from The Silhouette.
Awesome. Thank you.
First off, last night your concert was really amazing. We had a great time. Thanks for coming to Mac.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no worries. So you just got back from Europe. You performed with Taylor Swift on the 1989 tour. You were on Jimmy Fallon and Ellen, and you're going to Coachella this year. So that's a lot of exciting things happening. How does it feel to have so much happening in a year?
It feels amazing. It feels like it's happening so fast, and we've had these songs, and this album has been done for a while, so it's kind of been a secret, and everything was just like in development for a long time. And then as soon as the song came out, it seemed like everything just kind of grew really fast, and it's awesome.
So have you had that moment yet where you've sat back and thought like, wow, I'm famous?
You know what? Not really. I haven't had that yet. It's crazy to even think of, that word, because it's just so new to me, and I'm I just don't think of it like that. So I haven't had that moment yet. Everything feels very surreal still.
So you actually have some pretty great tunes and some really cool music videos too. We especially love your video for the song Here, and we find it so interesting that you got the people from the party you're actually at to be in the video. How did they react when you approached them about doing that?
Well, because a lot of them were my friends, I just kind of texted them and asked them, and I think they were cool about it because we actually knew each other, so it was a lot easier for me to ask, whether, if it was someone that I didn't really know, it would have been a little bit more awkward, I think, but they were cool with it. They were excited, and they were so supportive of it, so it's good.
Awesome. Well, it turned out pretty well, too, so that's great.
Oh, thanks.
So your music takes on a very different style from that of like a lot of other modern musicians. How do you find ways to stand out from other young musicians?
I guess, when you try to make your music just really fitting for you and really, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. I blanked out. When you try to make your music just really for you rather than trying to be different or trying to, copy someone else or trying so hard to do something, I think it's a lot easier when you're just doing it for yourself and feeding off your own experiences, because then it'll inevitably become different because it's your own experiences and you're doing stuff that you came up with, you know what I mean? So when I try to make music, I don't try to compare it to anything else, or at the same time, I don't try to make it overly different from anything else either, because I find that when you try to make something different, it doesn't really work. So the best thing I do is just really feed off of my own experiences and my own creativity, and that always ends up being different because it's just you, I guess. That makes sense.
Since being on tour, you must have met so many people and gotten a lot of advice. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
The best advice I've ever been given is probably to take things really slowly and a day at a time and not worry about, years in advance or days in advance. Just focus on today. And that was actually from my parents, which is probably the best advice ever, because it's really helpful in this industry when, you're constantly doing one thing after the other and things can get overwhelming. But if you just think of it as one day at a time, it gets a lot easier.
Yeah, it definitely puts things into perspective. So going on tour with Taylor Swift was probably such an amazing experience. Do you have any funny stories of anything that might have happened or she might have done?
Well, it was on Halloween that we did that. So that we did the show, and she was giving us a little tour of like backstage, and then she showed us this Olaf costume from Frozen that she was gonna wear, and she put it on. It was so funny.
Oh, no way.
I remember her. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So funny. She wore it at her costume party afterwards, and it was just so funny to see her because she's so tall too. So it was this giant Olaf costume. It was funny.
How did you feel when she asked you to come perform with her?
I felt it didn't even feel real. Again, I know I say that all the time, it felt surreal, but it really, really did. I did not expect her to ask me, so it was amazing. It's something that I've always wanted to meet her, and I've always wanted to just ask her so many questions, and because she's someone that I really admire, so it was so cool to get to be on stage with her.
That's amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. So here's your hit single and probably your most popular song, but is it your favorite song on the album?
I think it's always kind of been one of my favorites, which is why I always pushed it for the first single, because I just believed in it and I thought it was really different, and I personally think it's one of my favorites. But I also like Wild Things. I like Scars as well. I think there's a whole bunch of different ones that I like for different reasons because they're all so different. But I think Here is definitely one of my favorites. Sure.
So one other question. So your album Know It All, it's kind of like a concept through everything. Did you plan on having that concept when you started writing, or is that something that happened along the way?
It's something that happened along the way. When we were making all these songs, I didn't even know at first that I was making my album. I just kind of was making songs. And then once we realized, like, you know, which songs could fit and that we were actually making a body of work, I tried to find, you know, that common thread between all the songs. And I was looking at them, and I realized, like, the common thread is that they're all so opinionated in their own sense, you know, and that's not a negative connotation. It's just opinionated in, like, a general sense. But they're also, you know, they have this strong feeling in all of them. And it's kind of like when teenagers, we have these strong feelings and emotions, and sometimes we like to think we know everything, but at the end of the day, we don't. So that's how I figured out the title.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that the songs are very empowering in that sense, too.
Oh, thanks.
No problem. So I think we're out of time, but we just wanted to ask if you could let our listeners know that you're listening to 93.3 CFMU.
93.3 CFMU.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much,
Okay.
Alessia.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.